So if you're trying to grow on YouTube in 2026 using advice from even 3 or 4 years ago, you're playing the wrong game. Not badly, just the wrong one. Because the algorithm hasn't just updated, it's shifted its focus entirely. And that shift explains why some channels suddenly explode, while others feel like they're running uphill. So in this video, I'm going to break down 3 things. Firstly, what the YouTube algorithm actually prioritizes in 2026. Secondly, the biggest misconception creators still believe. And third, the one mindset shift that makes the whole platform start to make sense again. Because once you understand how YouTube really distributes content now, your strategy becomes much clearer and the frustration starts to disappear. So let's discuss the first myth. Let's clear up the biggest myth first, I think. A lot of creators still talk about pleasing the algorithm, which sounds logical, but it's also slightly backwards. The algorithm isn't something to please, it's something that measures behavior. It watches what your viewers do. Did they click? Did they stay? Did they continue watching afterwards? Did they come back tomorrow? Those behaviors are the signals that you need. The algorithm just reads them. So when people say the algorithm doesn't like my content, what they're really saying is viewers didn't respond strongly enough to my content, which is a bit less uncomfortable, but much more useful, because viewer behavior is something you can actually improve. So here's the first big change. The algorithm cares more about sessions now. A few years ago, creators obsessed over 2 numbers, click-through rate and watch time, which both still matter. But in 2026, the algorithm is looking at something slightly deeper, session time and impact. In simple terms, YouTube asks, did this video make the viewer keep watching YouTube? If your video ends and the viewers close the app, or even worse, they close halfway through, that is not ideal. If your video ends and they watch 2 more videos, now that's powerful, because YouTube isn't just recommending videos anymore, it's optimizing for time spent on the platform, which means videos that start or extend sessions get rewarded more, and that changes how you should think about your content. Your job isn't just to make a good video, your job is to create momentum and sessions. So this is why this feels confusing for small creators, and this is quite frustrating. You might upload a video that gets decent views, good comments, maybe even a solid like ratio, but it doesn't really take off, and the reason is often hidden in behavior you can't immediately see. Did viewers keep watching after your video, or did their session drop? Because if your video acts like a dead end, YouTube becomes cautious about recommending it. It's not punishing you, it's just protecting viewer momentum. And once you see the platform through that lens, a lot of confusing performance suddenly makes sense. So here's the second big change. Returning viewers matter much more now. In the early days of YouTube growth advice, the focus was always on new viewers. Get discovered, reach new people, expand your audience. And that is still important, but in 2026, returning viewers are incredibly powerful. Why? Because they create predictable engagement. If a viewer watches your video and then comes back for the next one, YouTube learns something valuable. This creator builds loyalty, and loyal audiences are easier to recommend. It's the difference between someone who clicks once and someone who builds a habit around your content. Habitual viewing is gold for the algorithm. It means your goal isn't just discovery, it's building relationships. Speaking of relationships, I've got a weekly newsletter where you can get clear, actionable tips on how to grow with me. I've grown a few YouTube channels, well over 10k subscribers at this point, with millions and millions of views, so I've got a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about. There's a link in the description if you want the extra sauce. So here's something that we need to talk about. Let's step back for a second. If we zoom out, the algorithm in 2026 is really doing 3 things. It finds videos people are likely to click. It tests whether those viewers stay, and then it watches what they do next. And that's the part where the platform has evolved the most. YouTube is no longer evaluating videos in isolation. It evaluates them as part of a watching journey, which means creators can design content that leads naturally into more content. Have a massive advantage. By the way, guys, if you can, hit the like button down below. It helps YouTube show this content to other small creators who need help. You can do that down below. So here's the third big change. YouTube tests videos faster. Another shift creators noticed in 2026 was speed. Videos are tested quickly, often within hours. YouTube shows your video to a small sample of viewers and then it measures their response. If the signal is strong, clicks, retention, continued watching, distribution will expand. But if they're weak, the tests will slow down. That doesn't mean the video is dead, but it does mean the algorithm doesn't see nearly enough early evidence to push it really hard. This is why first impressions matter so much now. Your title, your thumbnail, your opening 20 seconds, they're the entry point into your test. If the opening fails, the rest of the video doesn't get the chance to shine. A bit like turning up late to a job interview and explaining you're brilliant afterwards. Technically possible, but not ideal. So what does this mean for your content? So the algorithm now prioritizes sessions, returning viewers, and strong early testing. Your content strategy needs to reflect that. That means thinking about your channel less like a collection of videos and more like a series of connected experiences. Each video should do 3 things. Firstly, it should earn the click. Secondly, it should hold attention. And thirdly, it should make the viewer want to keep watching. That third step is where most creators fall short, because they treat the end of the video like the finish line, when it really should be the bridge. Also guys, since you're here, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe on the channel. So here's the subtle skill that most creators ignore. If you study channels that grow quickly in 2026, you'll notice something interesting. Their videos don't feel isolated, they feel connected. A video about YouTube thumbnails leads naturally into a video about titles. A video about retention leads into a video about hooks. It's not random, it's intentional. They're building content pathways, and those pathways create longer sessions. Longer sessions create greater signals, and greater signals create more recommendations. Which brings us back to the algorithm's real goal, keeping viewers engaged with YouTube. So here's the final mindset shift that you need to think about, and it's the biggest takeaway. The YouTube algorithm hasn't become mysterious, it's actually become more logical. It rewards videos that capture attention, hold attention, and extend attention. That's the entire system. YouTube wants to keep you on their platform, that's how they make money. If your content does those 3 things consistently, the algorithm works with you. If it doesn't, distribution will slow. Not because the system is unfair, but because viewers didn't signal enough satisfaction. And that's the part many creators resist, because blaming the algorithm is easier than improving the structure. But once you stop fighting the system and start designing for viewer behavior, everything becomes a lot clearer. So if you want to grow on YouTube in 2026, stop asking, how do I beat the algorithm? And start asking, how do I create videos people genuinely want to keep watching? Because the algorithm isn't a gatekeeper, it's a mirror. It reflects viewer behavior. And the creators who grow fastest on the platform now are the ones who understand that and design their content accordingly. Right, now the real question isn't whether the algorithm has changed, it's whether your strategy has changed with it. YouTube thinks you should watch the video on screen next, and I appreciate you watching. Until next time.